In this standard F1, you're going to be introduced to what a function is. A function is a rule that assigns exactly one output to every input. An input is the value that is entered into a function, which is your x value. The output is the value that is the result of the function. The value of the output depends on, it's the dependent, the y value, on the value of the input. Every input can only have a rule that assigns exactly one output to every input. One output to every input. Also terms to know, a relation is a set of ordered pairs. Vertical line test. If a vertical line test can be drawn so that it passes through more than one point on the graph, then the relation is not a function. And the domain are your x values and range are the y values. Steps to functions. Number one, compare the x and y values. Are there any x values that are the same value? Look at the corresponding y values. If these outputs are different, the relationship is not a function. Is this a function? In this case, this is not a function because the input 4 has an output of 10 and 5. That is not a function. Over here, is this a function? Because the 2 has a 4 and an 8 as an output, that is also not a function. Each input can only have one output. Which table represents a function? In this case, it would be table 1. Each x value has its very own y value. In table 2, the 2 can show up twice if both of these were positive 1. But in this case, this one is negative 1, this one is positive 1. Therefore, table 2 is not a function. Domain and range. In a function, the set of all the input values or x values is called the domain. The set of all the output values or y values is called the range. In this case, identify the domain and range. In this case, it would be the regular price, the x value would be your domain, the sales price, the dependent, the y value would be your range. Vertical line test. If no vertical line intersects the graph in more than one point, the graph shows a function. The graph to the left, that is a function. I can draw a vertical line and it only hits one spot on that graph line. Graph number 2, this is not a function because it hits the graph here and here. That would be considered not a function using the vertical line test. If we wanted to talk about the actual point, negative 3, 3, negative 3, negative 3. The input is negative 3 and it has two outputs, 3 and negative 3. Which graph represents a function? Graph 1 or graph 2? In this case, it would be graph 1. Graph 2, because of this right here, cannot be a function.